Welcome back everyone to Vampire 218 explains how to make a Mutants and Masterminds character / a Hero Lab tutorial. In this section we're going to be looking over extras and flaws. Now, extras and flaws are things that you can add on to powers that either cost or reduce that power's total point cost. Now, extras increase it while flaws decrease it. There are some fringe cases of extras and flaws being flat, not affecting the value. We are going to go over each extra and flaw very briefly in this video. Accurate. Very standard, allows a +2 to hit with the attack. Affects corporeal. If you are incorporeal and you wish to affect corporeal, you must take an equal rank to the power that would affect corporeal. An example, if you wanted to punch someone while being insubstantial 4 and you had 10 strength, you would need 10 ranks of affects corporeal. Affects insubstantial is what is required to hit insubstantial targets who are generally considered immune to certain types of damage. Affects objects allows certain effects that would normally not affect objects to affect them. Affects objects only is like affects objects in that it only affects them only. Affects others allows you to give something to someone else. An example could be granting someone your regeneration or immunity. Affects others only means you can only give that power away. You don't get it for yourself. Alternate resistance is applied to a power to change what the resistance check is keyed to. An example of this is an affliction that would normally be overcome by fortitude being overcome by dodge, such as a snare or bola. Area allows you to apply a power to an area, depending on which choice of area you choose. Burst is a 30-foot radius, Cloud is a 15-foot sphere, however it lasts one additional round, Cone is a 60-foot cone, Cylinder is a 30-foot cylinder in height and radius, Line is 5 feet wide and 30 feet long. Perception, well, that's anybody who can perceive your effect. And area shapeable, while it's only 30 cubic feet, you can shape that however you wish. Attack allows you to apply a personal power to a foe that may not want that to happen. An example could be a banishment type effect, forcing them to another dimension. Contagious allows you to spread effects to other people. This is most represented in illness effects. Custom is your bread and butter for anything that you don't find in the extras or flaws. It gives you a lot of versatility to create what you feel fits and add extras and flaws. Dimensional allows your effects to work on targets in other dimensions. Extended range increases the range categories by which you can hit. Feature can do various things, too many to list here. Basically, if it's a minor effect for the power, it's probably a feature. Homing, when applied to a ranged attack, allows additional opportunities to hit. If you miss, on subsequent turns, you can take a free action to reattempt the hit. You can only do so once per round. Increased duration changes the duration of a power from instant to sustained to continuous or permanent. Increased mass allows you to carry more. Increased range increases your range from personal to close to ranged or perception. Incurable means that your conditions cannot be normally cured. Indestructible is an extra that is applied exclusively to removable devices that makes them immune to smash attacks and cannot be broken. Indirect allows your effects to originate from points other than the user. Innate means that your effects cannot be nullified or turned off against your will. Insidious means your effects are hard to detect. Linked allows you to take two powers and make them one. Multi-attack has various uses. It can allow you to hit one target for a greater effect rank, essentially hitting it multiple times, hit multiple targets in an arc in which you attack all creatures in the arc, or provide suppressive fire. Penetrating allows you to bypass the impervious resistance. Precise allows you to have a form of delicacy and control over a certain power. Reach extends the reach of a power. Reaction is a decrease in action that makes a power function as a reaction. In order for a power to function as a reaction, it must have a specified trigger. Once said trigger occurs, the power goes off no matter what. You may apply a selective if you wish to choose whether or not this reaction triggers each time the trigger occurs. Reversible allows you to remove the conditions that you apply with powers, such as damage, or weaken, or even an affliction. Ricochet lets you bounce attacks. Secondary effect means that not only does your power affect them once now, but it'll also affect them a second time later. Selective allows you to discriminate in regards to whom you hit when you make either multi-attack area or when you make the arc option of multi-attack or the area power. It allows you to say, I'm not going to hit this person because they are an ally, however, I will hit this other person because they are an enemy. Sleep allows you to, instead of causing the incapacitated condition, you simply make them fall asleep. Split allows you to split an attack between two targets. This attack must be a resistible effect, and you can choose how your split works out. For example, if you had rank 10, you could split 5 and 5, 4 and 6, 2 and 8, heck, even 1 and 9. If an attack check is required, you must make an attack check on each target. Every additional rank of split lets you split amongst another target. Stacks with lets you combine two powers if you have the same power from different sources, such as having toughness granted from protection on your character and having a device that is armor granting protection. Subtle makes effects not noticeable. Sustained changes a permanent duration power to a free action, allowing you to power stunt with it, amongst other effects. However, it does require a free action to maintain. Triggered allows you to set instant duration effects for later activation upon certain conditions. This extra is most useful for traps. Variable Descriptor allows you to change the descriptors of an attack as a free action once per round. For 1 point, you can change a narrow group, and for 2 point, you can change a broad group. At this point, we have entered into the flaws section that decrease from a character's power total. Activation means, well, it takes an action before the power can really start going. This is most commonly used with alternate form. Check required means there's some sort of flaw in your power and you need to substitute that with, well, a skill check. In order to use the power, you have a set DC based on the check required rank. That is 10 plus 1 for every additional rank of check required. For example, if you were to take check required 9, this would result in a DC of 18. This is because the first rank creates the DC of 10, and each additional rank increases that DC by 1. If the check succeeds, you gain 1 rank of the power per point of result. This means if you, for example, had a DC 10 and you rolled a 14, you would gain access to 4 power ranks. Concentration must be applied to a sustained duration effect, and it increases that free action maintenance to a standard action. Custom, once again, your bread and butter for custom flaws. Diminished range, much like extended range, but inverse. It reduces your range. Distracting means, well, whatever power you're using, it takes a lot more concentration than normal, and your active defenses are halved because you are considered vulnerable. Fades means that every time you use a power with this flaw, it will lose 1 rank of effectiveness. Feedback, generally applied to powers with manifestations such as create, illusion, or summon, means that when said manifestation takes damage, you must also resist against the damage. Grab-based transforms a power into a reaction that triggers upon a successful grab. This power may only be used once a successful grab is initiated, and if you lack selective, will trigger every time you initiate a grab and succeed. Inaccurate is just like accurate, except it -2s from your accuracy. Increased action makes a power that takes less than a normal action, like a free action, take more, like a move or a standard. An example of this is how concealment may only take a free action to activate. This would say, now my concealment takes a move or a standard. Limited is a very versatile flaw that can basically do anything. A general rule of thumb with limited is that it should reduce a power's versatility and usability by about 50%. Noticeable can go on a continuous or permanent effect, and this just makes it more noticeable than normal. Continuous effect that you want to be permanent, such as being a larger fellow with permanent growth. This is what you do. You would often combine such a situation with innate. Quirk is also a very versatile flaw. It's like feature, but the opposite. It's much more of a limited limitation. Reduced range changes a ranged power into a lower tier of range, changing a perception to ranged and ranged to close. Removable is the flaw that you use when creating devices. We will go into devices at a later time. Resistible means that there is a check against the effect, such as if you were to have resistible damage that is keyed off of fortitude, you would roll to hit. Once confirming that you have hit, the opponent would first roll said fortitude save If they fail the fortitude save, they would then roll versus the damage. The target of a sense-dependent effect must be able to perceive its effect for it to work. This is most representative through, say, a flashbang or a dazzle. There is also area perception, but area perception just inherently is the sense-dependent flaw. Side effect is another very versatile flaw. It says that for 1 rank, anytime you use your power, there is a chance something goes wrong in regards to you having to resist something. For 2 ranks, you always have to resist when you use that power. Source means that your power only works when you have access to a source, such as sand or water. Tiring essentially turns your power into a power stunt, granting you 1 fatigue every time you use said power. Uncontrollable means your game master has control over your power. This is most useful for powers that you want to represent on your sheet, but feel might be a little too powerful in your hands, such as time travel or post-cognition. Unreliable 5 uses means you can only use the power 5 times. The total use of this power and when you regain it is subject to you and your DM's discretion. Unreliable roll is like the unreliable 5 uses, however, you need to roll a dice every time you use the power. On 10 or less, the power doesn't work, but you've still used the effect and action it requires. That has been Extras and Flaws. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you are learning something about creating a character in this series, and I certainly hope to see you in the next video.